Hey there, it's Nina with Walla Stamping. Thanks for joining me today. This is the project I'm going to be sharing with you. I just think it turned out so incredibly cute. I don't even know how I came up with the idea. This morning I was contemplating what I could share with you today, and I just think God said, here you go, here's an idea, because it just literally popped into my brain and it worked out so quickly and easily. So what is in here is a couple of these Crystal Light Pure flavor packets for your water. I really like these a whole lot because they're sweetened with stevia, and I like a stevia no calorie sweetener because it's more natural than any other kind of sweeteners. So I think this would be just such a cute idea to give to a friend or a coworker, or I don't know, if you go to your doctor's office and you want to treat your receptionist or your nurse, this would be such a cute little idea to give to somebody like that. So what I made this with is on page 90 in our catalog, and it is the Lemon Zest bundle. What comes in this bundle is the stamp set, and you get all the stamps you see here, and then you get the punch as well to punch everything out. And there are some really cute ideas in the catalog to build with this set too. I do have a kit. Go over to my website, wallastamping.com. Leave a comment under the post for the Live with Zest lemonade pouch, and you'll be entered to win this kit. So let's get started creating this. What the base of this project is a piece of Whisper White, and this is cut to 10.5 by 4. Then I have a piece of crushed curry, it's 3 by 4, and a piece of old olive, 2.5 by 3.5. I'm going to be using, of course, as I said, the this is called the Lemon Builder Punch and the Lemon Zest stamp set. So this is the bundle here, and this is the stamp that I'm going to be using. I'm also going to be using my layering ovals framelits to do some cutting out, and the ink I'm going to use is crushed curry and old olive. For adhesives, I'm going to be using Fast Fuse and some dimensionals, as well as some glue dots, and I'm going to be using the mini chevron ribbon and crushed curry. The first thing that we're going to do is get our scoring done. So I have my Simply Scored scoring tool, and we're going to come in here with the 10.5 inch side across the top, and we're going to score at 3¼ inches, 6, and 6¼ So this is all we're going to need the Simply Scored scoring tool for. You could also use your trimmer to do your scoring with. Now I'm going to use a ruler, and I'm actually going to grab my piercing mat to do this other scoring with so that I can get a better indentation in my paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to measure in 1 1/8 inch in from either side along this center score line here. So there's 1 1/8 inch, and I'm just going to make a little mark right there. And I'm going to do the same thing from the other side. And then, as you can tell, between this score line and the end of the paper is longer than between this score line and the end of the paper. So I'm going to come in here and measure 3/8 of an inch in and just make a little mark there. I'm going to do the same thing on this other side and make a little mark there. Alright, so what you'll do next is line your ruler up between this little mark you made and this one, and then do a score line. Using the pierce mat helps that score line show up a whole lot better than if you just did it on a hard surface. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Alright, then I'm going to turn my paper around so that the long side is here, and I'm going to score from the edge of my paper down to this score line that I made. And then repeat that on this side. Okay, so that is all the scoring that you have to do. Now I'm going to grab my scissors, and I'm going to do some trimming. So on this long side here, we're going to just cut straight down each of those score lines, and you're going to want to cut just to the inside of the score line because you don't want any of that score line showing in your finished project. I'm going to flip that over because I'm right-handed and it's easier for me to trim this way. And I'm stopping when I get to that 6-inch score line. Then I'm just going to cut these little pieces completely off because we don't need those. And quite honestly, there's really not very much wasted paper in this project. Okay, so then this is what you're going to be left with when you're at this point. And I'm going to start at this corner here, and I'm just going to cut alongside that score line, which will actually be about 1/4 of an inch away, and these are going to end up being the little tabs that's going to hold the project together. I'm going to snip that off of it at an angle, and then come up here and snip this one off at an angle, but it's got to be a really sharp angle so that it doesn't end up showing, peeking out the top of your project. Then I'm going to come on this side and I'm going to trim down alongside that score line again, snip at an angle, snip at an angle. So this is all the waste that you have with this project. So this is a great one. If you're like me and you hate to waste paper, this is the project for you. So let's go ahead and get all of our score lines folded and burnished. Okay, so I know that this is going to be the front, this is going to be the inside, and this is going to be the back. So I want to do my stamping on those 3 areas, here, here, and here. So first of all, I'm just going to open this up. I'm going to grab my crushed curry ink, and I'm going to be using, where did my lemon go? There it is. I'm going to be using that lemon. My blocks need to be cleaned. I should have done that before I started this video. I'll do it after. It's all right. I'm going to get that inked up, and I'm just going to randomly stamp this lemon all over this side of my little container. And if you have a little spot like that, don't sweat it. You can always do your scoring, or excuse me, you can always do your stamping before you do your folding and burnishing. That will help correct that issue. All right, so we got that done. Now I know that I also want to stamp on here, so some of these lemons will be showing from the inside of this card. And I'm just going to go ahead and stamp almost down to the bottom because you will be able to see inside the package. Okay, so we're done with that. Now I'm going to grab my old olive, and I'm going to grab this little leaf here. I made myself a mask because I want the leaves to come out from behind the lemon and not overlap the lemon. So I'm going to dip that in, and I'll stamp once and then stamp a second time. Then just move my mask as I'm stamping. As you can see, I pushed down a little too hard and put a little blob of ink there around the edge of the stamp. I'm not going to worry about it because I am going to be cutting this out, so that's not going to end up showing in the end. So the next thing that we're going to do is some big shot work, and that's where the layering ovals framelits come in. So let me grab my big shot real quick. I'm going to be using the largest of the plain ovals on this. The first thing that I'm going to do is lay the bottom portion of my pouch in here. Then I'm going to lay my oval so that let me take this off so you can see. So these 2 corners here, I want my inside portion of my ovals to line up with that because it's going to cut out right there. You can skip this if you want to. It would be perfectly okay not to have this little indentation, but I just like the way it looks. Then the next thing that I'm going to do is similar but different, and you see I did the same thing on the back of this package. I was a little too zealous and stamped that a little too hard. So now on this one, we're going to line this up a little bit differently. So I'm going to line up the top part of the oval with the top portion of my pouch. Then I want the spacing on either side to be pretty much even. Then I'm going to take my other cutting plate and I'm going to line that up right in this area here and here, so that when I run it through my Big Shot, the only portion that's going to get cut is this side right here, because there's not a plate laying on top of that part. I hope that makes sense. Maybe it will once I get it run through. So I'm just going to hold that plate steady until I get it into the Big Shot, then run that on through. So see what that does is it just cuts that half oval out of the top. Now I'm going to use my fast fuse and run a strip down either side of these tabs here. Fold those in. And I'm going to fold it on that 6-inch score line, which is the center score line that we made. Get that tucked in. Get that even with the side of the box. Then do the same thing on this side. And when you do that, it's going to make your pouch have a little bit of a pucker to it, because this back portion is probably about, I would say, an 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch wider than the front. And I did that so that there would be a little opening in there and leave plenty of room for you to slide your little pouches down inside of. Okay, or your little packets is what I should call those. But before I put those in, we're going to go ahead and get our lemons done. So let me grab my crushed curry, and I'm going to grab my old olive. I'll need my crushed curry again, and this time I'm going to stamp the whole lemon. So I'm going to, uh-oh, it fell off because I didn't have it stuck down really well. Get that thing stuck on there. Ink that up. Stamp one on this end and one on this end. Grab my lemon builder punch, and you will notice that these lemons have to go in a certain way in order to line up correctly. And I stamped my lemon backwards, so let me cut these in half so that I can get them into my punch the right way. The reason why is, if you can tell, one side of the lemon is larger than the other side when it comes to that little point right there. So that's why it goes in the punch a particular direction. I'm going to get that centered up, punch that out, and then do the second one. All right, so I got my lemons done. I'm going to stick my old olive in here, punch out a couple of lemons from each side. You can do more if you like. 2 is enough for me. I'm going to get rid of the trash pieces and keep the ones that I want. I'm going to bring my little pouch back in here. So as you can see from the first one, I have 1 lemon here and 1 lemon here. Those are attached with dimensionals, and I've attached the leaves to the back with my fuse. So I'm just going to put a little stretch of fuse right there and just attach my my leaves right into that fuse. Then instead of putting my dimensionals on top of my lemon, I'm actually going to put the dimensionals into the package right there so that I know exactly where it's going to be. If I put it on the back of my lemon first, I may get them in the wrong place and have to adjust where I put the lemon according to where the dimensionals are. But this way I can put the lemon wherever I want it, because I've got the dimensionals on my pouch instead of on my lemon. I'm going to do the same thing on the front. Grab a couple more of those dimensionals, put them right here, And the reason for this one is the same basic principle. I can determine where my lemon is going to go, and I know that I want some of my ribbon, that little chevron ribbon, to be underneath this lemon. Oh, and I forgot to stamp it, y'all. All right, let me go ahead and get this stamped. I'm going to use my old olive to do that. Got a dimensional backing right there. Hopefully this will turn out okay since I've got those leaves on there. Oh, yep, it turned out just fine. So you'll want to probably stamp before you put the leaves on the back. So what I'm going to do now is take my ribbon, slide that in behind the pouch and then around the front and put it in front of that lemon. And just to make sure that it stays in place, I'm actually going to put a little piece of fast fuse right there just to hold it still. And I think I'll do the same thing on the back to make sure that it stays in place for me while I'm trying to get it tied. That helps me to hold it still better so that I can actually tie a halfway decent bow, because you guys know that I am not a great bow tire. I try and I try, but they don't always turn out pretty. Hopefully this one will do good today. Okay, that's not half bad. I'm just going to pull that back in, make it a little bit smaller. Then, whoops, scissors, here we go. Snip, snip the extra off. Okay, so here we are. That's the first one I made. This is the second one. And I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial today. I really do like how this turned out, and I think that it's such a cute idea to just give a little something to a friend or a co-worker or a teacher or whoever it is in your life that you just want to give a little pick-me-up to, because to me, this little lemony bright package is a ray of sunshine, and it can really make a huge difference in somebody's life if you just hand them this little something and say, hey, I was thinking about you and I just wanted to give you a little present. Hope you like it. I mean, I know whenever somebody does that for me, it always makes me feel really, really special. And whether I'm having a good day or not, it makes my day so much brighter. So if you would like to make this, there is a link below this video with all of the supplies. There will also be a link that will take you to my website at wallastamping.com, and you can print the instruction sheet there, which will give you all of the measurements and a list of everything that I used and how to create this. So I hope that you guys have a great day. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll talk to you soon.